Hi folks, I'm Ronnie McDowell and welcome to Music, Memories, and Masterpieces. And you're not going to believe my guest for the very first podcast is my friend of 40-something years, Jimmy Velvet. And there he is. And the memories that this guy has and all the folks that he knew. But I wanted him here for all of that. But the main reason I wanted him here is because he is one of only 3 people left on planet Earth that rode around with Elvis Presley in 1955 in a car. Everybody else is gone. Well, I wanted you here because I love you too, Jimmy.
Oh, okay. I forgive you.
But anyway, the history this guy has is astounding and amazing, and we're going to talk about it. He also had big hit records himself, and my sister, Linda Sue, she bought his record, We Belong Together. I took him to breakfast not long ago with my sister, and she could not believe that she was getting to meet Jimmy Velvet because she bought your record at Randy's Record Shop in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, Jimmy, how you doing?
And I'm doing good for an old man.
Oh, you're a young chicken, spring chicken.
Okay. I'll take that one.
So you told me you're fixing to be 87? So you and Elvis, let's say you're 5 years different from Elvis.
You got it down good.
So I've got to ask you this, and I want the world to know this. Elvis was like me and you. He had his shortcomings. Tell them exactly what kind of human he really, truly was. What kind of a person was he?
He was the most generous person I ever met. He'd just soon give you a new car or a piece of jewelry or something, you know.
Well, speaking of that album cover of yours, we were coming down here today, and you said, Ronnie, see that ring? As a matter of fact, I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it because you said, Ronnie, see that ring that's on my finger right there? And I said, yeah, what about it, Jimmy? And he said, well, Elvis gave me that, and a long time ago, a star ring, and he said, I just got it back. Where did it go?
It went to the co-founder of Pizza Hut.
The co-founder of Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Wow. You just gave it to him?
I did. We were good friends, and he did a lot of things. I helped him in a lot of ways. Then he passed away about just a few days ago. So he left that ring behind.
And who gave it back? The son?
His son.
His son gave, well, that's cool that he gave it back to you. That reminds me of Clark Gable. I'm a big Clark Gable fan. And when he got his Oscar for It Happened One Night, Jimmy, David O. Selznick came over with his son to Gable's house one day. He started playing with Gable's Oscar statue. And so Clark Gable said, son, you want to take that home with you and play with it? And David O. Selznick, who produced Gone with the Wind, said, Gabe, you don't want him taking your Oscar? And he said, yeah, man, said, I just use it for a doorstop. So I love this.
He didn't know what they go worth nowadays.
So when Clark Gable passed away, 6 months later, he had a son, Clark Gable Jr. So David O. Selznick's son brought it and gave it back to Clark Gable's son. Isn't that cool?
That's a very good thing.
So it kind of reminds me of that ring there. And I want to show the folks some of these pictures because so much history here. I love this. This is Jimmy and Elvis in 56 or 55.
I was 15.
He was 15 years old.
I was 19.
1955. And I love these pictures. So much history. And there's Jimmy with DJ and Scotty and Bill Black. And see that green jacket that he's got on? Well, Elvis wore that at the Frontier in Las Vegas in 1956. And believe it or not, he was the hottest thing on the earth, but they bombed because everybody wanted to see Frank Sinatra. All the people were coming to see big bands. So they weren't really interested in seeing some young 20-year-old shaking around like that. We all know that. But anyway, so they really bombed. And of course, Elvis came back to Vegas in 69, and then he owned Vegas.
The International.
And he sure did, and still does. 884 sold-out shows. But anyway, so Elvis gave Jimmy that jacket. Do you still have it?
No.
Oh, you don't?
I gave it to a girl.
You gave it to a girl?
Didn't help either.
You did, really? You gave it to a girl?
I did.
You did?
I was stationed in Fukuoka, Japan. I got my Dear John letter.
Oh, you know what? My first girlfriend is here. And she sent me a Dear John letter when I got in Vietnam. She's sitting right over there. She's going to kill me for saying this.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Sorry, Marcia. But she did send me a Dear John letter. So you and I had the same experience.
People still alive don't know what it is.
Well, I got to tell you, I love this picture too. This was 56.
That's Studio B.
Studio B over here in, right there in Nashville. First time I ever recorded was in Studio B. So that's where that was made. Wow. How old were you there?
Well, that was in 62, 61.
Wow. Well, now this picture was made. See, I'm a history nut, so I know this picture was made in 57 or 58.
Could have been.
Yeah. So now this is Jimmy with Gladys Presley, Elvis's mama. And this is 1957. So what kind of lady was Gladys Presley?
Quiet, full of love. And she, the funny thing that I always remember funny is because we were in the kitchen talking and Elvis was in the dining room area and he said a bad word. His mother went in there and grabbed him by the ear and walked him out. You apologize.
Well, it sounds like my mother because she would make me go get a switch, and if it wasn't long enough, I had to get a longer one.
Me too.
Yeah.
We unfortunately had an oak tree at the kitchen window. Those sticks are rough.
So Gladys, she did the same thing to Elvis. I love that. I really do. Well, here you are with Vernon Presley, Elvis's dad, and I got to tell y'all, in 1980, I was in Memphis with Conway Twitty at the Coliseum. Never will forget this. They just opened up Graceland that day, that Sunday. It just happened to be me and Conway were in town. And I told Conway, I said, Conway, can you believe they just opened up Graceland today? And man, that's been my lifelong dream. He said, Ronnie, you don't go on till 7 o'clock. He said, go over there. And I did and went through every bit of it. It was just so fascinating to me. Then I went across the street to this souvenir shop, first time I met him. So, 46 years ago. And Jimmy and I, we got to talking. And of course, I knew who he was. And I got to tell y'all, he brought this black jacket over, kind of like what I'm wearing here. And I was real skinny then. I bet I didn't weigh 180 pounds. And my waist was probably 29 back then. But I put that jacket on and it fit me perfect. He said, now open up that lapel. Never will forget this. And I did. And when I opened it up, it said, made exclusively for Elvis Presley Paramount Pictures, girls, girls, girls. And I said, is this the jacket he wore when he was going, return to sender? And Jimmy goes, yes, it was. And I said, oh my God, I can't believe I'm wearing this. I said, is it for sale? And Jimmy goes, take that jacket off.
He had to add that.
And then he said, put this Mexican sombrero on. And I did. And it was the one that Elvis wore and took a picture. I still got it. And it's the one he wore in Fun in Acapulco. What a history this guy's had. But not only with Elvis. I mean, you have a book here. And what is amazing about that is that book has how many?
805.
How many?
508.
508. And Dick Clark did the...
Liner notes.
Yeah, Dick Clark did the liner notes, and Dick Clark was a very good friend of mine as well. So, and there was somebody else that did the liner notes. And I want to show y'all this book because this is amazing. And also, Jimmy, you have albums here, and I'm sure some of these folks would love to have your album. But also, look at this book. This is amazing. Jimmy, how long have you had this book out?
Go to page 12.
Here he is with Little Richard. It is amazing. I mean, everybody and his uncle. I mean, if you look at this, oh, look.
Buddy Holly, Jerry Lee Lewis, Everly Brothers and me.
Everly Brothers.
That was in Florida in Miami in 50. Good Lord.
Jimmy, I'm telling you, the history that you've had is mind-boggling, and the people that you knew. And I'm so glad that you're my first guest. I wanted Jimmy Snow to be with us today, but he's had pneumonia. Hank Snow's boy. He's the other person. He's 90. And I got to tell you, Jimmy Snow is one of the only three still living that rode around with Elvis in a car like you in 55 and 56. And so Jimmy, he said, Ronnie, when I get to feel a little better, I'll do it for you. So I'm excited about that too.
Hey, me too.
Tell them about your album.
This one?
Yeah, can you show it?
Yeah, I think maybe one of them got opened. Whoops. That's a tour poster. I'm down here. It's Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, Jay and the Americans, Sir Douglas Quintet.
So you were on a show with all
Mordred.
of them?
Oh, yeah, a lot of shows. That one you can open up and kind of see.
So you were on a show with all those folks. Check that out. That's amazing. You were on ABC, right?
Paramount, yeah.
Paramount. And that's the where you had We Belong Together.
Yeah. We Belong Together came out on,
The Chiffons.
oh, yeah, the
Wow.
Chiffons. Had them.
You had what a history you've had. That is amazing. But
Yes, it is. Thank you.
We've
Have
got some guests here this afternoon. Thank y'all for coming. We're going to give y'all one of Jimmy's albums here this
Well, I
afternoon.
only have 4.
Oh, you only have 4? Okay, well,
Maybe you have a giveaway.
we'll have a
thing.
drawing.
Oh. We can
So,
cut it in
Jimmy-
pieces.
Jimmy, tell them who else that you. Hey, by the way, we do have an audience here, so would y'all clap and scream? And I didn't know if the camera guys wanted me to do that, but it doesn't matter. I'm glad you did it. Because we are going to evolve this into having an audience every time we do this. So I'm excited about it. And then we're going to evolve this into Music City Late Night over at the Troubadour, and we're going to have like a Jimmy Kimmel show or something like, yeah, pretty much, because if you think about it, nobody's doing that in Nashville, and they should, so we're going to do it. And I'm excited about that right next door.
Amen.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, tell them where you're from, and we've already said you're 87, close. Tell them where you're from originally.
Originally, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, and guess who he met while he was in Jacksonville? Mae Axton. And Mae Axton was your school teacher.
My English teacher.
English teacher. Well, guess who Mae Axton is? She wrote Heartbreak Hotel for Elvis Presley. And that's how he kind of got into that picture and that scene, because I know the history of Jimmy, and I just love that. And when I was at the 4-Star building, and when my first record came out, The King Is Gone, I walked by this door, and it had a star on it, said Mae Axton. And it was halfway open, and she saw me walking by, and she said, Ronnie, come in here. I said, hey, Miss Axton, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And she said, Ronnie, you need to put the Heartbreak Hotel on your new King Is Gone album. I said, Miss May, I really don't think I ought to do that. She said, Ronnie, you need to do that. Set it up with a little talking thing at the front of it. Well, I did. So then Jim Ritz, a friend of mine who is an actor and a screenwriter, he was with Dick Clark. And Dick Clark, after I just did American Bandstand, Jim Ritz went over. They were working on projects, and Dick Clark said, Ronnie, I'm doing a movie about Elvis Presley. No, told Jim that. And he said, I need somebody to be Elvis Presley's voice. And Jim Ritz said, well, have you heard Ronnie McDowell? Because he went out and bought the King Is Gone album, Jimmy. And Dick Clark said, yeah, I just had him on American Bandstand. And he said, well, listen to his version of Heartbreak Hotel. So fate is a hunter. It found me that day walking by her door, because had I not done that and did Heartbreak Hotel, then I wound up being Elvis's voice in Dick Clark's movie with Kurt Russell. So that's how that happened. Fate is a hunter. It found me, like I said, that day.
Well, it must have found me too, because
It did find
I was working for my dad in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and he at the Oceanside Hotel, and he was the head chef there. So my dad made me the salad chef.
the salad chef.
Yeah, taught me how to do salads for expensive people. I was making salads, and we had these number 10 cans. You'd open them and hold the lid on, pour the juice out, throw it away, take the fruit and make the salads. So I decided I'm going to start making salads and take the juice home in jugs. So I had them lined up under my bed in the closet at the hotel. So I had my own room, thank goodness. My dad fired me, and because he said I was making wine or liquor. So I go back or get ready to go home.
So then what'd you do?
Well, I put them in the car and was going to take them home. Instead, I got a different way home. But the story is with May Axton. So I get home. May and I both lived on Delmont. May had her first big show at the Gator Bowl where she was co-producing.
Right.
And she invited for me to be backstage and get to meet everybody. So I was talking to this guitar player for a long time. He reached over and said, "Oh, by the way, my name's Elvis Presley." And I thought, what in the world is an Elvis Presley? And that's how we actually met. And it was because of her. And she was my English teacher, substitute teacher at Paxton High, the first year Paxton opened.
Wow.
And anyway, it's a funny story if you can get through it.
So that's how you met Elvis. Wow.
Doesn't know
Through
who
May.
he was. She came in the room and introduced us again.
Wow. It's kind of ironic because it's kind of like the same way with me, but I didn't get to meet Elvis. I just did the song, Heartbreak Hotel, and then I got to be Elvis's voice in that movie with Dick Clark. And Dick Clark was a good friend of yours, like
Yes.
he was to me till he passed away. He was good to me.
He was
Matter of
good to
fact, he
me.
called me one day and he said, "Ronnie, I'm flying you out to California. You're going to give Michael Jackson his award for his Thriller album tomorrow." So when I got out there, he said, "Ronnie, do you know Charlie and the boys?" We were backstage. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Come over here and say hi to them because they're going to go out there with you to give Michael his award." So I went over there and it was these four black guys, gentlemen. And Ronnie, so you know Charlie and the boys? And I said, "No, Dick, I thought you was talking about Charlie Daniels." He said, "No, Ronnie, Charlie and the Gap Band." I said, "Oh, well, I love You Dropped a Bomb on Me." Well, you don't know who they are, probably, Charlie and the Gap Band. But anyway, so Michael Jackson walked up to me. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Exactly. Conway Twitty was standing next to me. And Michael Jackson walked up to me and he goes, "Hi." No, he goes, "Hi, how are you?" And I said, "Fine, thank you."
I figured that was coming.
True story. Then he went over to Conway Twitty. He said, "Mr. Twitty, I've loved you all of my life, and thank you." Well, actually, he goes, "Mr. Twitty, I've loved you all of my life, and thank you so much for the music." And then he walked off. And so I was really glad. And we didn't know it at the time, but when I gave Michael that award that night, we didn't know it, but that was the biggest selling album of all time, the Thriller album. And, you know, his new movie is almost $1 billion movie. And what a talented little boy he was.
Yeah, he was.
I got to play just a little bitty part of his life. Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
So, Jimmy, tell me, besides Elvis, who else did you meet?
Oh, gosh, everybody.
Movie stars.
Dean Martin.
Dean Martin, you told me that. So,
Yeah.
So was he a pretty good guy?
He was really good, yeah. And I went with him when he opened his restaurant, Dino's.
Really?
And
Was that in Vegas or L.A.?
Hollywood, Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to go back home to Florida. Dean gave me some credit cards, cash. Said just when you get back home, just send the credit cards back. So,
He gave you his credit cards.
well, I was close at that time.
I started to say he had to be really close to you if he gave you his credit cards.
I know,
Wow.
and I
That's
didn't abuse them.
I know you didn't, but you sent them back to him?
I did.
Well, he had to be a really good friend. That's cool. Well, I love Dean Martin.
Well, there's Claude and Claudia, Dino.
Well, I got to tell you this because this is so crazy, y'all. On my 45th birthday, Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana came to my birthday party right down the road from here at the Cock of the Walk. Well, they had this little plaque that they gave me, the story of the watch. So when they were in Vegas and the Frontier, this guy came up to Elvis. They were all by the pool, and said, Elvis, I'm from Memphis and I made you a watch. I'm a jeweler. So Elvis took off his 1956 Elgin and he said, does anybody need a watch? And Scotty Moore goes, I do. So Elvis gave it to him. Scotty took it home and put it in the drawer for 40-something years. And on my 45th birthday, Scotty and DJ had it redone, and it was running like a brand new watch, and with that plaque. And they gave me that watch. Well, get this. So I did the Pawn Stars show, right? So this guy somehow found out that I had that watch, and he goes, hey, I understand you got Elvis's watch that he wore on the Dorsey show, Steve Allen and Ed Sullivan. I said, yeah, I do. He said, would you sell it? And I said, well, I don't know. Scotty and DJ gave it to me for my birthday. And he said, I know that, but would you sell it? And I said, I don't know. I'd have to ask Scotty. He said, would you take $25,000 for it? I said, well, let me call Scotty. So I called Scotty and I said, Scotty, I just did that Pawn Star show. That guy wants to give me $25,000 for that watch y'all gave me 10 years ago.
Take the money.
And Scotty goes, he wants to give you $25,000 for that watch. And I said, yeah, I just told you that. And he said, well, hell, he only give $100 for it, sell it. But that's not the end of the story. So get this. So not long ago, Jimmy and I, we have breakfast ever so often in Hendersonville. So Jimmy came and he had this little square box and he pushed it right in the middle of the table and he opened it up. And I said, Jimmy, what's that? He said, well, I'm going to show you. So when he opened it up, it was that watch. I said, Jimmy, what are you doing with that watch? He said, well, this guy in Australia had it and he gave it to me to take care of it. I never will forget that. And I said, what? And then in Australia, not long ago, it sold for $160,000. I wished I'd have waited a little longer, Jimmy. But $25 is a lot of money. $25,000.
It is a lot of money.
So anyway, I just keep intertwining my history with you somehow. That's weird.
Okay. I remember a lot of it.
Yeah. And we've done shows together. And I'll tell you what, Jimmy lives, you've been married 26 years to this unbelievable girl, and she walked him out to the car, and I said, well, you sure do take good care of him. She goes, I love him, and kissed him right on the mouth. 26 years.
Yep.
And I said, Jimmy, how many times you been married? He said, well, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The last two were 26 years and 27 years.
Yeah. He said he'd been married 5 times. I said,
I never asked for anybody for a divorce.
you never asked anybody for a divorce?
Nope. Never told them I wanted one. So we had a good marriage. We still do.
Well, you've had a long marriage thing.
Yeah, it's a 26 and 27 in a row.
That's crazy. Well, you look good and you sound good, and I'm so excited to be here with you.
Too.
And it amazes me that he is one of only 3 people still living that rode around with Elvis in a car. Like I said at the beginning, Billy Smith, Elvis's first cousin, he's still with us, and also Jimmy Snow, he's 90, and this young boy is getting ready to be 87.
87. God.
And it's so unbelievable to have you here today. Thank you.
I
wouldn't
for
take
having
anything
me.
for this.
And you got a
It's
great
history,
audience.
big time. And this, every show that we do is about history and music and art. And you knew every one of those guys. I just finished that. Elvis, DJ, Scotty, and Bill Black. I never got to meet Bill Black because he died of a brain hemorrhage in 1964
Well, he's
when I was
right there.
14.
Pink.
Yeah. So anyway, just finished that, and I'm in Springfield, Illinois, the capital of Illinois, this Saturday, and it's an Elvis convention. So I'm taking all the artwork with me that you see here, the Heavenly Elvis, the Uber driver Elvis, and we're going to be there Saturday. And this painting right here of me and Ernest Tubb took 6 months in my garage on my knees, and I said I would never do anything like that again. 6 months. I had to get knee pads because it was so huge, It took me a long time to do that. But the reason I put Elvis over there is because you don't know this, but I'm going to share this with you. When Elvis did the Grand Ole Opry and he came off stage, they wouldn't let him do That's All Right Mama. They said that was too pop. They made him do the B-side, which was Blue Moon of Kentucky. Scotty told me this over and over and over because he was there. And he said, when we came off stage, the guy that was running the Opry, I'm not going to mention any names, but he said, I think you boys need to go back and drive trucks. Well, here's what you don't know. So Elvis went in the dressing room and ripped his shirt off, threw it in the garbage can. He was inconsolable because it was everybody's dream back then to play the Grand Ole Opry. Scotty said he was devastated. He said, but now I will insert a little humor into this. He said, because when I looked down there and saw that shirt in that garbage can, he said, if I knew he was going to be Elvis, I would have got that shirt. And he said, and in walked Ernest Tubb. So this has the history right here. In walked Ernest Tubb to the dressing room, put his hand on his shoulder, and he said, son, I understand they wouldn't let you do your new record. He said, no, sir, they wouldn't. They told me it's too pop. I had to do Blue Moon of Kentucky. He said, well, that's because Bill Monroe wrote that song. He said, I tell you what you do, son. You're just different. You come across Broadway, you come do my Midnight Jamboree, and you do your new song over there. And he did. And Scotty said every year till Elvis left us, he sent Ernest Tubb a Christmas card till he passed away. Because that's what kind of a guy Ernest Tubb was. When I first met him, he said, son, where you been? I said, Wisconsin. He said, did you make them any money? I said, well, I hope so. He said, did you give them any back? And I said, I didn't know I was supposed to. He said, son, let me tell you something. If you make people money, you give them a little extra. If you lose them money, you give them a little money back. I never will forget that. That's just who this guy was.
Wow. He's the best artist I know.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. You can tell Jimmy loves me, can't you?
He's the most talented person, really.
Well, thank you.
The paintings, I've seen all of them. The music, he keeps going.
Well, I got to. The banks want me to keep making payments.
Well, when you finish, start on mine.
What, your payments?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, he's got storage rooms right now filled with memorabilia, filled with them. And I told him the other day, I said, Jimmy, do you need any help with that? And he said, I sure do. And I said, well, me and Tyler, my son Tyler, will come over and help you with whatever you need and help you with all that stuff.
Got a lot of stuff.
But only if you give me one of Elvis's shirts or something.
I don't know that I have any.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You got everything in those storage rooms.
I don't know what's in there.
So who was your favorite person you met besides Dean Martin and Elvis? Of all the people you met?
Oh, well, I would have to say Dick Clark.
Every time I'd call Mr. Clark, I'd say, hey, Mr. Clark, Ronnie McDowell. And he goes, yeah, Ronnie, how can I help you? True story. And I said, well, Dick, I'm doing a video down at Tootsie's on Broadway. Would you be in my video? And he said, Ronnie, I've never been in a video, but what do you want me to do? And I told him, he said, I tell you what, can you bring some cameras out to Hollywood, tape me there, and I'll be in your video? And I did.
He's right there next to Johnny Tillotson.
We were talking about Johnny Tillotson today, who passed away. Johnny and I were big friends, and Johnny keeps right on a-hurtin'. All the songs that he wrote and songs Johnny Tillotson did. I'm like a rubber ball. I'll come bouncing back to you.
Bobby V.
Yeah, Bobby V. You were big friends with him, too?
Yes.
But I wish y'all could see this book about his life. It is amazing. It's not just the pictures, because he knew all of these people. And I'll get it for you, Jimmy. And it's 508 artists and different movie stars and singers in that book. It's amazing. And you were telling me about one page in there.
That's when It's Almost Tomorrow was going up the charts.
And if you get a chance, y'all, check out his song, We Belong Together, when you leave here tonight. All the audience, check out his big record, We Belong Together, 1958, monster record. And as we was coming over here, I was playing him songs from the 60s and 50s, and he was singing along with every one of them, Mike. I mean, just He knew every one of those songs, from Johnny Burnett to Sarah Vaughan. He knew every song.
All
And
the
I just
Johnny
thought it was
Cash.
wonderful. And by the way, y'all, my son Tyler and I, we do all the artwork together. Tyler, I think he's in the audience somewhere tonight, or he snuck out.
There it
He's-
is.
Oh, yeah. I
So
love
why,
that
why
picture.
buy the picture when you can get the whole
Do
book
what?
for less?
Why buy a picture when you can get the whole thing
Yeah,
with the
why
book?
buy the picture of it when it's in the book?
Now, you got a lot of those books, right?
I still got 4,000.
4,000 books. Good Lord. Well, guess what? Would you like to give that to one of these
I would.
folks that are in the audience tonight?
Okay.
All right. How would we do that? We'll just say, hey, who is the youngest person here tonight? I'm not going to ask how young. Okay, who's the oldest here tonight? Now, wait, I saw hands go up both times. Now, the bartender, is it Mara?
Yeah, Mara Moon.
Mara Moon. I just met her, and I told her she looked like Rachel McAdams, who is one of my favorite actresses. And Mara, I'm not going to ask how young you are, but go ahead, tell me.
I'm in my 30s.
Oh, you're in your 30s. Anybody in here younger than Mara Moon? Anybody? Going once? Going twice. Mara, this is yours.
Well, thank you.
Hey,
Thank you so
it
much.
weighs 5 pounds, so
Hey, Jimmy, I forgot to show you this. I want to show y'all this because I'm really proud of it. I just got my new gold album from Dolly Parton,
oh, I love her.
and I'm on Dolly's new rock star album. And the crazy thing about this, again, fate found me. And I got to tell you, this is the biggest selling album Dolly Parton has ever done. And I'm on it with Dolly. We're track 28. And I never will forget, they said, Ronnie, can you believe you're on an album with a Beatle? I said, well, I didn't know I was going to be on this album. And, well, we're track 28. Paul McCartney is track 27. And Judas Priest is track 29. What am I doing on an album with Judas Priest? And also Leonard Skinner, Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, let's see, Ringo Starr, so many people on this, and I'm on there with her, and I got my gold album, but guess what the best part of it is, Jimmy? I got my check. Thank you, Dolly. Folks, I am Ronnie McDowell, and thanks for tuning in to Music, Memories, and Masterpieces. And guess what? This is my special guest, and I couldn't think of anybody better to be my special first guest. He's one of 3, like I said, only still living on this planet that rode around with Elvis Presley in 1955 and 56. And not only that, he and Elvis were unbelievable friends. Do y'all know this? He is the only human that Elvis Presley would let watch Lisa Marie, because that's how much he loved that boy. So it's really good to have you here, Jimmy.
Thank you. It's
Thank
great to be here.
Great.
Thank you.